Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, this is where we go really, really deep. So I'm not here to give you cliche advice like just text him or he's scared of love. We talk about the real mechanics of twin flame connection here, especially the monadic twin flame journey. So, as the title speaks, many of you are probably thinking about this on a constant basis. If you're going through separation, many of you will be like, why does he just not care? So we're going to actually delve deeper into this today. So welcome to all the new subscribers and for you guys who have been with me since the start. So let's delve deeper. What's going on in the nervous system, in the soul field, in the higher self architecture? All the stuff no one told you when you first Google, why is my divine masculine ignoring me? And if you have been here for a while, like I just wanted to say, let's delve deeper because you already know we are here to cut through the illusions and get to the truth of divine union. All right. So I share from my own experience and from the thousands of clients I've worked with over the years. And of course, my own clairvoyance and my own opinion on the journey itself, through the Akashic records, multidimensional records, my higher self, intuition, everything. So today I want to address one of the most painful things you can experience as a divine feminine. When our beloved divine masculine acts like he doesn't care. When he's cold, distant, or it feels like you've been completely erased from his reality. And yet, excuse me, just when I need a bit of water, I realize, okay. So as I was saying, when our divine masculine acts like he doesn't care, when he's like cold, distant, or he feels totally out of touch. And yet the soul bond is still alive and you know it. So why does this happen? And how is this sometimes a protective mechanism for the both of us? So this is how you got to see it, why it is a protective mechanism for you and your divine counterpart. So let's be very clear. I am not excusing bad behavior. If he's being cruel, manipulative, that's not protection. That is actually, him projecting his 3D self. So we got to take a step back, right? So what I'm going to show you is that sometimes this detachment isn't reaction, it's pacing. All right. So when I mean pacing, what is actually going on is that it's like our higher selves are trying to contain the situation, and his higher self is trying to keep both of you from blowing up the connection before the field is ready. So that's why we are going to go into layers in today's discourse on why he behaves like he doesn't care. So we are going to touch on like why his nervous system reads you as both home and threat at the same time, how shame and attachment style feed the I don't care mask, and what I call the union gate and why it closes even when love is there, and how his distance can actually be a micro training for you, and why your light feels dangerous to his shadow sometimes, and how interference from outside energies, the noise in the third energy field, uh, forces him to pull back, and how to tell the difference between protective detachment and actual neglect. So I'm going to begin with nervous system overload. So here's the thing you have to understand. Our divine masculine's body doesn't know how to handle the voltage of the connection yet. In normal dating, attraction builds slowly, and the nervous system has time to adjust. With twin flames, particularly monadic twin flames, recognition is instant. It's like plugging a 120 voltage appliance into a 240 voltage socket. Too much power, too soon. So his system does what all bodies do when they are overstimulated. It tries to regulate. You see where I'm going with this? It starts to regulate, and you would notice that there is this fight, flight, or the sneakiest one, the freeze response. So freeze looks like short replies, flat tone, acting busy, going to work mode, or even slow ghosting, and you think he's over me. But actually, his body is saying, I need to lower the volume before I short circuit. So I've seen this with many of my clients, my own journey as well. The moment we stop chasing and just breathe into the space, our divine masculine comes back with way more presence, not because of some kind of a manipulation tactic, but because the nervous system finally feels safe to re-engage. So that's why I want to get into the second part, which is shame. Imagine feeling the most love you've ever felt and instantly believing you're not good enough for it. That's what happens for a lot of our divine masculines. He would feel the pull towards you, and then the shame spikes. I'll fail her. I'm not good enough. She will see the real me and leave. And to protect himself from that imagined pain, he would put on that I don't care mask, the famous I don't care, like go away, I don't care mask. It's not that he feels nothing, it's that he's trying to feel everything. And here's where it gets tricky. The more you push, the more the shame spikes and the more he retreats. So your work is not to drag him out of shame, but to refuse to participate in the loop. So that's the reason why this one's really huge. Your connection exists inside a shared energetic field, which, I keep talking about the third energy. I call it the third energy, the combined energy field. When this field isn't built strong enough yet, the union gate stays closed. And that doesn't mean there's no love. It means that the higher selves know that if you come together too soon, the whole thing will collapse under karmic weight, mismatched timing, or interference. Sometimes it literally may feel like divine pacing. You feel the connection without constant contact. Every time you try to force clarity, the conversation goes sideways. Real world obstacles keep delaying things. That's not the universe punishing you. That's the universe protecting you from premature collapse. So that's why, here's the part that no one likes to hear. Sometimes his distance is training us. If our stability only exists when he's present, you've made him your regulator. Union requires two centered nervous systems. And if he's the only thing holding you steady, his soul will pull back to force you to learn self-sourcing. So ask yourself this question, right? So ask yourself this at this point. What am I asking him to give me right now that I haven't learned to give myself? So your presence is like an audit, it shines a light on every place he's out of alignment. So addictions, avoidance, broken promises to himself. And if his whole coping system depends on keeping these shadows in the dark, then yes, you would feel dangerous. You would feel overwhelming. You would feel like he wants to run away, like literally run away, So he avoids not because he doesn't care, but because caring means changing, and change means dismantling that scaffold that's holding up his current life. So that's why you've heard me say this countless times, right? Your connection exists in a shared field, and that field gets noisy, the third energy. So it could be category 1 karmic partners, family opinions, friends who don't understand, even your own obsessive checking on him, trying to find out. All of that adds static. And when the signal gets too messy, sometimes his higher self will literally pull him out of range to protect the field. So that's why I want to delve a little bit into protection and neglect. All right. So you may notice this a lot. So I want to really be real here. Not every silence is wholly pacing. Protective detachment can still feel respectful. The communication might be minimal, but it's consistent. He's not love bombing, then vanishing. He regulates your boundaries, So that's what I would call like protective, like detachment. So neglect or abuse, that's like stonewalling, contempt, triangulation, humiliation. And if that's what's happening, it's not twin flame pacing, it's actually mistreatment. So you really, really have to identify between protection versus neglect. So how do you respond? So three quick points I want to talk about. Don't chase, but don't slam the door either. Match his communication style. So no essays if he sends you like a one word or two words. Keep your energy clean, focus on your mission, nervous system work, and healthy boundaries. So that's the reason why, try to cleanse your field daily. Close old loops, stop venting to the wrong people, mission focus, do something that reminds you who you are outside of this connection, and calibrated reach in one honest, low pressure message if it feels right. But really hold off on that, but only when you're really ready. That's why when it comes to messaging, I always say that only do it when you're feeling, higher vibration, in a higher vibrational state. So that's why detachment isn't always disinterest. Sometimes it's the only way the connection survives long enough to make it into union. So when you stop personalizing every silence, you stop bleeding energy and you actually make it easier for him to come forward without fear. So tell me in the comments, what changes when you stop chasing and start stabilizing? And what's one thing you will do this week to anchor yourself? So really, before you jump into thinking that he doesn't care, and you start to immediately jump into why he's behaving this way, think about it. This is your higher self's way of bringing this connection to the next level. All right, then I'll see you all in the next discourse.